What's up, my friends in the film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. The entertainment world giveth, the entertainment world taketh away. That's the theme of the show today. I mean, it's legacy sequels are the thing, and other sequels of things that are more recent, for some reason, they sometimes just kind of get kicked to the curb. I have no explanation as to why things happen the way they do in Hollywood, nor does anybody else, but we're going to try to make sense of the whole damn thing today with my good friend, starting with my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about this, and I'm sure, I don't think me and Tex are going to butt heads. I'm sad, but also, I think we need to know when to fucking call it quits. Good Lord.
Ugh. God.
I
feel dirty.
I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that the number of Saw movies and the number of Fast and the Furious movies are on equal head right now. So I'm just like, maybe we should stop.
Maybe we should stop. Yeah, get the hint, Vin Diesel. You're 3 years younger than Tobin Bell. You got to stop driving these cars around and fighting guys that are half your age and 3 times.
They're gonna have a crossover, I swear.
Eventually, it's gonna happen.
Maybe that whole thing with Chester Bennington, like the trap with the car, maybe that was a sign.
Maybe.
I was saying.
And there's tears in his beer tonight. He's trying to not get too emotional, but he has the shape of Lone Star State, my man Tex. What's up, brother?
I'm in mourning today, my friend. All of your thoughts and prayers will be appreciated because those fuckheads at Twisted Pictures can't get their shit together and make a goddamn movie when Saw 10 just made a shit fuck ton of money, you bunch of fucking idiots. But either way, I'll try not to shoot my load before we get to the end of the show to talk about it. But fuck you, Twisted.
Don't hold back, Tex. Tell us how you really feel.
Hey, I'm in mourning. I'm in mourning. You can't tell me how to mourn. That's not okay. I get to feel how I need to. So that's all that matters.
Hey, it's his party, and he'll cry if he wants to. Hello, BJ. So wonderful to have you here as always, bringing a little bit of class to this shit show that is often our show. Dr. Nick, what's going on, my brother? I was actually just listening to your guys' show this morning, actually, on my way to work. But yes, he says Casey told me that he has several new things to put up his bum. Yeah, now it's a theme. It's I
was like, I love how every one gets like weirder every week.
He also said he's with you. He wants the Saw Fast and the Furious crossover.
You might as well.
Yeah,
Hashtag make Saw 11, you fucking cowards.
And then of course, here's everybody's favorite human being right here.
Have you seen my wiener?
Keep it classy, Casey.
I think favorite's too strong of a word. That's not what I would have used.
See, actually, I'm going to blame Casey for Saw 11 not happening because today is the cursed day of his birth. I think it had some effect on this. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think, God rest his mother's soul, we know she's gone. But the day that she brought him into this world, upon this day, I think fate knew, we're going to fuck Tex over by taking away his favorite franchise and one of his movies. I blame Casey for this bullshit. It's a conspiracy. I'm telling you right now.
For that.
Yeah.
So, Casey, let us know in the chat, how many candles did they put in your tots at Sonic today? Is it 44, 45? I bet you roll through there. They like see you coming at this point in the camera. They're just like, Casey's here. Put all the tots in the fryer. All the tots. All the tots.
Right now.
Game over, man. Game over.
He wants us to sing happy birthday to him right now. We might. I don't know.
There's that. There's your happy birthday, Casey. Are you happy? Gift. There's your happy birthday. All right, there you go.
Damn.
There you
go. I don't know. Maybe I'll find a funny video to play for you before the stream is over. A little bit of a different stream tonight. The movie we were planning on reviewing tonight. I've had a very busy few days, and I just have not had a chance to go see the movie.
You didn't miss anything.
Sometime later this week, this weekend. Maybe we'll get around to a review, but for right now, we're just gonna have to kind of put that one off. But there was
it was streaming quality. It was whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything over the top, but.
But there is some stuff that has happened in the industry of entertainment, some movie news that has come out that requires some discussion. And before we get to the one that's going to break Tex's heart the most, and I'm sure will spawn the most discussion amongst.
I'm gonna start playing Hank Williams over here. I might just off myself by the end of the night.
Let's get to a new trailer that came out, and that is the one for Happy Gilmore Deuce. Part Deuce. I had a whole thing pulled up here. I don't know what it was. There it is right there. Let's see. Adam Sandler returns to the golf course in the trailer for Netflix's Happy Gilmore 2. This from the Hollywood Reporter. Let's see. It says, after nearly 3 decades, Happy Gilmore is ready to return to the golf course. Netflix on Tuesday released their teaser trailer for the upcoming film Happy Gilmore 2, a direct sequel to Adam Sandler's 1996 slapstick comedy. While the original film saw Gilmore, a failed ice hockey player turned surprise golf sensation, upset pro Shooter McGavin at a major tournament, the sequel sees Gilmore return to the game after a long absence. Jeremy, I know you said you didn't get around to seeing it, but Tex did. I watched it a couple times this afternoon on the way home.
Yeah.
Tex, let me go to you. Give me your thoughts on the trailer. Is it doing what trailers are supposed to do? Is it building up your interest, or could you really not care?
I could really give a fuck, to be honest with you. I mean, I've seen Happy Gilmore a few times, just like everybody else has. I'm not a big Adam Sandler guy. He kind of annoys me, to be honest with you. But this trailer was exactly what I thought the movie was going to be. It was, oh, he used to be good. Now he's down on his luck and he's got to do it again. Like, literally, the only thing that excites me about watching this film is what is Shooter McGavin doing? What has his character been doing since? That's the one and only thing I care about with Happy Gilmore 2. Hey, but, Julie Bowen's still looking hot, so shout out to that. That's something to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she's aged that bad at all. I was like,
right,
are
so
we sure this isn't 5 years after the original and not like 35 years? She's still like pretty
I guess,
good.
Shout out to her plastic surgeon or whatever adrenochrome pump she's getting her juice out of. I don't care either way. But I don't really care. It's going to be all the old guys got to do it one more time thing. It's going to be what it's going to be. But it's an Adam Sandler movie at the end of the day, so I'll probably be annoyed.
I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, I know you said you haven't seen the trailer yet, but I mean, just the idea of a sequel to this movie, a legacy sequel after so many years, is this something that you're interested in at all?
I wish I cared. You lost me.
I agree 100%.
After 3 decades, nope, you lost me. Next. Like, that's as far as I don't like. You don't have. I mean, not that you need it, but like, you don't have Bob Barker anymore. You don't have Carl Weathers now, unfortunately. So I'm like, yeah. What are we doing? Like, I'm just gonna echo pretty much everything Tex said. I'm like, I'm not really an Adam Sandler fan either. Like, he had some funny movies back in that day. I will agree. From the 90s, I'm like, my problem with Adam Sandler is, yeah, he was kind of annoying because it was like you were still trying to be Billy Madison 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. I'm like, dude, it's not funny anymore. Like, it doesn't work. Please stop making dumb shit like Jack and Jill. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. And the thing is, like, that movie he was in, he wasn't a drug dealer. Or was he a drug dealer? Like,
Uncut Gems, where he was like the gambler or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, you can act, man. Like, you can do some serious shit. I'm just like, you don't have to keep being the funny guy all the time. You know what I mean?
No, he's got skill. I loved him in the remake of the Longest Yard, the other football movie that he did. I don't like that whiny. It's like he's always playing Saturday Night Live sketch Adam Sandler. It's like that shit got old 25 years ago, dude. We don't need that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe I can tell you what Shooter McGavin's been doing. He's probably still eating pieces of shit for breakfast. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Well,
the only shot of him we get in the trailer is he's down on his knees going like, no, and it looks like it's raining outside at night or something. Like, that's really, like, they don't give you any context. So that's really all you see of him within the 2-minute trailer or 90 seconds, whatever it was. So you're not getting a lot. So.
I don't know. I was just talking about it earlier today. I'm like, I'm just tired of fucking legacy sequels. I don't need to see, like, some of these characters and these stories that they make, these movies that they made 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago now even. I don't need to see their entire life. Like, I don't care what the hell he's doing now 30 some fucking years later. Now, remakes I can be a little more lenient with because I'm like, okay, if you're remaking something, that's a little different. The only scrutiny is like, okay, comparison is going to happen. You're going to compare to the older film. That's fine. It's not like, okay, now there's just this big gap of, okay, well, here we are now. I'm like, cool. Like I said, my example earlier today was like, okay, it was funny watching Ralphie shoot himself in the eye with a BB gun. I don't care what he's doing with his kids now this Christmas. What the fuck? I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I love that movie, but I'm like, I can't bring myself to watch the Legacy sequel for it. So, I don't know.
Trying to find something we can play for Casey.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying- let's see, so I
How about we
just-
play the funeral march? That would make me happy.
I just googled gay birthday dance to see what I can find.
You gotta be careful when you search that kind of shit. You want to safe search that one. We're gonna get demonetized right now. We don't even make money on here.
You're gonna want to clear those
Demonetize
cookies
me,
and
fuck.
erase that history after you do that search, right?
You know what? Hold on. I think.
Oh no. Jennifer knows not to bother looking at my search history. We've had this discussion. If I die, just take my computer outside, pour gasoline on it, set it on fire.
Just burn it.
Don't even try to
Don't
clear
even
it.
just
destroy the hard
unplug
drive.
and burn. Yeah,
Destroy
just
the
burn
hard
it all.
drive. But
I think my mom has a good point. Maybe he has bills to pay. Maybe he's got like another house to make a payment on. I agree.
But that's the thing is he's not hurting for money. I do believe that he's returning to this character.
Oh no, he's one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood.
I'm sure that he's returning to this purely for creative purposes. But look, he signed that like 5-picture deal with Netflix or something like that. I mean, he's not hurting at all. But and to top it off, he's done a lot of stuff. His last several projects have been good. Uncut Gems, people love that movie. I still haven't gotten around to seeing it, but people love that movie. And yes, he can actually act. Because it was funny to watch him do like Billy Madison and shit at first. But when he starts doing other stuff that's comedic but slightly more serious, takes a little more like Wedding Singer. Wedding Singer is one of my favorite movies to watch. It's 80s based, which is always nice. It's him and Drew Barrymore, who they have pretty awesome chemistry together. Why they haven't done more movies together, I don't know. But it's like that movie is truly good. It's like, and Drew Barrymore is no slouch of an actress herself. She's been doing it for about 1 million years now. I mean, she's been acting. I mean, her family is almost acting royalty. So, I mean, it's like, yeah. So he's very good in some of the movies he's done that aren't Billy Madison. But I'm just like, dude, that was a movie that never really needed a sequel. You know, and this is where we need to get very careful when it comes to the legacy stuff. It's like, do we do the stuff where there's actual story to tell, or do we do the stuff that was popular in its day and that other people really want a sequel of? See, the problem is people may really want a sequel to a legacy movie, but there may not be a story there for it. There may not be a need for it. Everybody's voices seem louder these days because of the internet. It's like 5 people want it, so 5 people share something on Facebook, 500,000 people see it because they shared it, and all of a sudden they think there's a big call for it. There's really not, and I think this is one of those things where I'm like, if they had done this like in 2000 or 2001, like maybe 2005, I might have been with it, but now I'm like, Adam Sandler is so far
add
past
another
this.
20 years to that.
He's so
Nobody
far.
cares.
We just lost Jeremy, but it's like he's so far past that. I mean, why are we going this far back to something that didn't necessarily need a sequel? We're going to talk about another one here in a minute that's got me kind of concerned. But it's like, do we have to? You know what I mean?
Now, you remember, I can't remember the actor, but the guy that plays Shooter McGavin, we saw him on the golf course in the Beverly Hills Cop remake. Looks damn near the same as in this trailer. And they're both done by Netflix. So are they crossovering here without telling anybody? I mean, do you think that's going to happen?
I actually read when we were doing the review for Axel F, when he shows up in that movie, that's actually who he's playing is Shooter McGavin. I don't know that I believe
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know that I believe that, but we're gonna find out.
Well, I mean, considering Netflix has rights to both of those franchises, it would make, I mean, it would only make sense to, even if it's for a 5-second crossover, to mention, oh yeah, I was on the golf course and that helicopter just came crashing down out of nowhere.
See, that's the thing. It's like, what do you get from connecting those two franchises? Because
you get nothing out of it. You just do it because you can.
But that's not a good enough reason, because that doesn't accomplish anything. I could tie Texas Chainsaw Massacre and 50 First Dates. what does it do? I mean, yeah, I could put a line of dialogue in there that says, "Oh, back in the '70s, my dad went to Texas with his hippie friends to get weed, and nobody ever saw him again." It's like, well, okay, that's a fun little thing, but like, what does it accomplish for either story, for either franchise? What does it do? So connecting those two things doesn't matter. Look, because fucking Eddie Murphy's never showed up in a Happy Gilmore movie. So it's not like there's other connective tissue that makes it make sense. That's why I don't know if that was actually the truth, or if that was just something that somebody put out there because they thought it was going to sound funny. The reality is it doesn't matter. I'm really worried about us deciding now that Top Gun Maverick and a couple of the legacy sequels have done well, that now we're all going to be like, oh my god, now we have to go back to the 70s and 80s and reboot all this shit for legacy sequels. No, we don't. No, we do not. For one, some stuff is kind of dated material anyway, so it probably wouldn't translate well to the modern audience. For two, some of these people from the 70s and 80s, they're dead. It's like, so you can't really bring them back. And yeah, you can recast or say that it's their relatives or whatever, but that's kind of hokey. Unless your movie's really, really good, that's not going to go over well. It's not everything needs a legacy sequel. So either you have to have a banger of a story that is going to be awesome, or you're never going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. I have a feeling this movie's probably going to be funny. We're going to review it more than likely. It's going to be funny. It's going to have some Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore shit in there, and we're going to giggle about it, and then we're never going to discuss the movie again because it's not going to have that staying power that the original might. The original has things in it that were indicative of that time of film and watching film and fans and what we enjoyed that made it awesome. It sticks with us. They can't do anything with this movie coming up that I think can do the same thing in a modern viewing sense. So I don't know what the point is.
I know Netflix very rarely releases stuff to theaters for a short time. I haven't seen anything that this is going to be theatrical. This is just going straight to Netflix, correct?
Yeah, but honestly, the only reason you release anything in theaters is because you want to try to get some awards buzz out of it. And I know that Netflix is
get some money back.
Netflix doesn't think like that. Netflix is stupid. I cannot understand why.
Oh no, I completely agree.
Look, that whole thing about how making it or losing a bunch of money on that Red Notice thing with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and Gal Gadot. The reason they lost money is because they're morons. You could have put that movie in theaters, and those stars alone would have driven a lot of people to the theater to help that movie at least break even, so you wouldn't have lost money. And that would have been a pretty big win for Netflix. But instead, they're like, I'm going to put it right on Netflix, where nobody's going to jump to Netflix to watch it. They're going to go over to their friend's house or borrow their friend's Netflix password to watch it at home.
Yeah, like a password share.
They're not going to make any money off of it. So it's like, it just seems stupid. But I mean, whatever. I'm gonna watch Happy Gilmore 2 because I want it to be good. There is that nostalgic thing in me from mid-90s comedies that were all some winners. Well, not all of them, but I mean many of them were. You know, was it the American Pie, which has been in the news lately.
Can't even pay it a compliment
because now all of a sudden a bunch of millennials went back and watched American Pie. They're like, oh my god, those movies are problematic. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're fucking pussy.
I love all of the American Pie films, including the couple straight to DVDs, ones that came out after the third one. Like, was it Beta House and The Naked Mile or something? I love both of those as well. They're great.
The first one was fun. The second one was still pretty good. After that was missed me.
No. Come on, Bandcamp is like S tier. Come on.
Bandcamp. Yeah, there was. Let's see. It was Beta House, The Naked Mile, and then Bandcamp was there. I think was Bandcamp the one where it was girls as the main cast, or was that a different one that they did?
No.
I don't know.
It was Stifler's little brother.
There's been a whole bunch of either way. I love the American Pie films. Don't remake them. Don't touch them. Don't bring back Sean William Scott and Shannon Elizabeth. Leave them in the past. Don't do that, Hollywood, please. No, whatever.
I know. I could go for some more Shannon Elizabeth. I don't think there's too much Shannon Elizabeth in the world.
Oh, Shannon Elizabeth. Hey, proud daughter of Waco, Texas, by the way. She's one of ours.
Let's see. Darker Reviews. Let's go on Darker Reviews. I've been watching a little bit of his stuff lately. He says he only likes a handful of favorite films. Yeah, he's got a couple that didn't.
I'm the same way.
He tried getting really dramatic with Punch Drunk Love, and I was kind of like, I'm not really into that. I mean, I enjoyed
The Longest Yard, Little Nicky, but I hate Adam Sandler's voice in Little Nicky, but I love the movie. And what's the other football movie that he made down there in Louisiana?
Waterboy.
Waterboy. That's probably the three that I like. The rest of them I could give a crap.
Yeah, the one that he did where I only saw bits and pieces of it. My dad loved it. He thought it was great. It was the one where he played the guy who won Don Cheadle, where his wife was killed in 9/11 or something like that. It was another really kind of dramatic piece. I watched bits and pieces of that, and I could never really get into it. My dad loved it. He thought it was a great movie. But, whatever.
I don't know that one.
Dark Review says American Pie 2 is damn good. One and two were good. One was better. 2 was still pretty good. After that, the whole franchise just loses me.
American
Wedding. When they were trying to get everybody back to American Wedding, I was kind of like, it's got
American Wedding sucked. American Pie 3 is worth watching just for the bachelor party scene alone and the hijinks that happen there. That is absolutely hilarious. I don't care what anyone says. It's all good.
But yeah, so I don't know. Go down in the comments, give us your thoughts. Are you guys looking forward to seeing Happy Gilmore 2? The trailer just dropped today. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer down below. Now, moving on to another legacy sequel that apparently is happening, and again, I'm kind of wondering why. We've got Young Guns 3 is apparently going to begin filming very, very soon, says star Emilio Estevez, who will also be directing. Young Guns, this coming from our friends at MSN, Young Guns 3 star Emilio Estevez reveals a long-awaited sequel's filming start window and shooting location. Released in 1988, the original Estevez-starring Western movie about a gang of youthful gunslingers proved to hit at the box office, grossing $56 million worldwide on a budget of $11 million. The sequel, following in 1990, sported a price tag of $20 million and went on to gross $59 million worldwide. Estevez revealed back in 2021 that Young Guns 3 was actually in development. A few years on from his original reveal, Estevez has given an update on the project, announcing that the Western sequel will be shot in New Mexico, and he expects filming to begin in the fall of this year. The 62-year-old Estevez then joked about the irony of him starring and reportedly directing a movie with Young in the title via the Santa Fe New Mexican, saying, quote, "Many of you have already heard we're starting the ball rolling on Young Guns 3, and I've heard all the jokes, old guns, ancient guns, so don't bother." Yeah, this is one that I, again, love the first two. Not sure about this one. For a lot of different reasons. I don't know. Jeremy, we did, I think, we did the first two Young Guns, right?
I was just thinking that. I'm like, I know we did one. I don't remember if we actually did two. I remember doing the first one.
Well, I mean, we may end up having to do it, of course, but especially if the third one comes out. But I know we did one of them, and so we're all familiar with these movies. They are, if not entirely historically accurate, certainly two of the more entertaining westerns that have ever been made. I don't know, Jay, what do you think? Is it a good idea to do Young Guns 3, or again, are we just into the everything needs a legacy sequel from the 70s and 80s now?
Yeah, we're still in that. Like, I'm sorry, my answer's still gonna be the same. I didn't know that was a thing until you put that in our chat, and I was just like, seriously? Really though? We're doing that? Okay. And the poignant part to me is that Emilio Estevez has already heard little jokes. I'm like, that should be your sign.
Right.
Don't fucking do it. Dude, if they're fucking making, like, they might just be poking fun at you. I'm like, they're poking fun at you because you probably you don't need to do it. Why? I'm not understanding the logic here. I'm really not. Because this is going to keep bringing up the discussion of like, well, do they ever make anything original anymore? I'm like, well, there's not really original stories, as we've said. Like, you've had the same kind of stories told with different characters, different settings, different time periods, so to speak. We've had these same stories told in different lights. You can do that. I mean, you can make something quote unquote original. We don't have to keep just going back to like, oh, hey, I know that movie from the 80s. Like, okay, great. I mean, I'm glad if you want to, like, hey, now our kids can watch it. It's like, your kids can watch the old one too, right? That's called like, here, check out this movie I grew up with, right? I don't get where the connection is there. Stupid.
Yeah, I wonder that too. I don't know. Tex, how about you? I mean,
I feel like it just brings it down.
Yeah, you're familiar with the original two films. I know we reviewed at least one of them.
Yeah,
what do you think about the idea of having a Young Guns 3?
Just call it Old Guns, please.
Just why? Like, right. You can't be a young gun if you're on social fucking security, dude. Like, that's not how this works. just like you're closer to retirement home than whatever. And once again, I'm sure Emilio's probably heard that joke too, but he can fuck off. I don't care. So it's I mean, I have no emotional attachment to the Young Gun films. To me, they're probably like, hey, we want to make a Western because they're cheap. What's an old property that we can grab out of the junk pile from 20 years ago and call it a legacy sequel? And I don't care. The only way I would watch it would be for review purposes. For here, to be totally honest with you, I don't really give a shit. So do your worst. Now, if they don't have age-ridden Charlie Sheen, they can't make it. But that's my one and only reason. So, whatever.
It's just like when I went to go see Novocaine, and I just glanced around at all the posters in the lobby, and I saw one, this big skull, so it drew my attention. And it said Final Destination, Bloodlines. I'm like, why the fuck are we making those two?
I'm excited for that one.
God damn it. I said
the third movie, I'm like,
I said like
hey,
I said like the one pass I'll give is like horror movies and like slashers. I'm like, you can kind of get away with that because like sure, this one particular slasher, just that's their thing. They just kill people all the time, any people throughout their whole life. I'm like, that kind of makes a little more sense. That's why there's 50 fucking like Michael Myers movies. There's like just as many Texas Chainsaws. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of get away with that because you can keep having this character kill people throughout their life. But again, like with, God damn it, I'll still remember. Was it 5 or was there? It was The Final Destination, and they're like,
The Final Destination was number 5.
Was number 5, and then they're like, "Hey, just kidding, we're making another one." I think this is 7.
See,
like,
technically in 5, you find out it's actually a prequel to 1 because
it came back
5.
around. I know they're on the plane.
It's the other group of kids that you see from the first movie getting onto the airplane. So,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. And I was like, "God damn it!" I'm pretty sure we did this with Resident Evil. We're like, "Yeah, this is the final Resident Evil." Just kidding. We're gonna make like 2 or 3 more movies. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can we stop? I mean, hell, we even did that back in the day. There was what?
Wait, hang on a minute, Jeremy. Are you telling me that those rich people that get paid millions of dollars to be brilliant are creatively bankrupt in their shills and they're just reskinning old shit? Say it ain't so.
I don't think they're brilliant, but they do get paid too much money.
Well, I'm using brilliant in a whatever, but.
Brilliant in their own little circle jerk bubble, I'm sure. Like crazy, like you're holding the guy next to you with the other hand. You're patting the guy next to you.
Hey,
on the back.
I'm gonna make a Harry Potter movie, but this time he's gonna be black. Oh my God, I'm so smart. I'm so great. Yeah, that's basically.
I'm actually still upset about that too.
I am too. I can't wait to yell about it. I've got thoughts.
My thought isn't even the casting. It's too goddamn soon. I mean, maybe we didn't just end, but didn't we just fucking wrap up Harry Potter? Why are we redoing it again? I know what I just said a second ago. Remake stuff. But yeah, remake it, but Jesus Christ, give it some time to breathe.
Okay, but here's the problem with this Young Guns thing, though. And whether it's Resident Evil or insert franchise here.
Yeah.
We're in 20 years, we're going to look back from where we are now to go back to 2009, 2010 as this just clump of years where people just don't remember the movies. They're like, oh, didn't they make some other weird, blah, 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 some knockoff of the original? Because that's literally all this time period. In the 70s, we had these great films that came out and blew everybody away. 80s, horror boomed. Action, movies boomed. The 90s, kind of the underground movement kind of came into play. The early 2000s were still kind of riding that. But the 2010s till now have nothing but rinse and repeat of what's came before, just not as good. It's just the Wish.com version. And I think that's what this Young Guns is going to be. I mean, how old is Kiefer Sutherland? We know Charlie Sheen's not in good health. Emilio Estevez is 62. If you want to make a Western, do something original, make some new story. Don't dust off this because it's got name and brand value,
I think you're about in the right time period because I'm pretty sure making Indiana Jones 4 in 2008 was the fucking start of the
Yeah,
downfall.
well, that's what I'm saying. It was now.
God.
If you go back, I mean, obviously I'm a horror guy, but 2003 we had Texas Chainsaw come out, and it boomed big. Rob Zombie's Halloween, as controversial as opinion is, whether you love it or you don't, that was a big success. People loved the Friday the 13th in 2009. Now the Nightmare remake we won't talk about, but that kind of spurred off all of these other remakes from previous films and whatever, and you can trace it back from then till now to where we are with. Now, of course, we've had like Top Gun Maverick, which is a huge success, probably the best of the legacy sequels. Then you have something like Exorcist Believer, which, my God, that was horrible.
I don't know.
Young Guns 3, I'd say it's closer to Exorcist Believer than Top Gun Maverick. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my problem with it is that look. I thought it was. I know it was only 2 movies, and trilogies are kind of the order of the day at least. The problem is now we don't know how to stop at 3. I thought the ending of the second movie was pretty good. I don't know what they could possibly do. I mean, sure, they could have something where maybe Billy the Kid, played by Emilio Estevez, is in his 60s since he supposedly maybe got away from Pat Garrett, or Pat Garrett let him go or whatever. Right. And maybe it shows an adventure of his, but apparently it's not just him coming back. Lee Diamond Phillips is coming back. Who else? Christian Slater is coming back from the second movie.
I just saw Lou Diamond Phillips. He played a bit part in the Werewolves movie. He was the mayor or something.
Yeah, so
well,
I mean, he's been acting.
I was like, I just saw him because he was at a Comic-Con I was at this past week, and I was like, here's Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, he's never really
but he was like,
I'm like, hey.
He has like 3 minutes in Werewolves, but they plaster him all over the trailer and posters like he's in all of the movie, and he's not. So
yeah, he's never really been out of acting. He's always been around, and in some pretty prominent roles. He usually had an off and on role in the TV show Numbers as the FBI agent that they would team up with every now and again. I always liked him in that. But yeah, so it's not just going to be about Billy the Kid. It's going to have other characters come back. I don't know how you make that work and make it make sense. Now, then you have to answer the fact that supposedly Billy dies at the end of the end of the second movie. Supposedly Lou Diamond Phillips' character rides off to his death in the second movie. You never see him on screen, so you're one line of dialogue away from explaining where they came from.
And somehow Lou Diamond Phillips returned. There you go.
I don't know.
We really watched Laurie Strode chop off Michael Myers' head, and they're like, yeah, but not really.
I've seen Michael Myers shot to death by 15 guns, exploded with dynamite. He had his head cut off. I've seen them all. Like, somehow Michael Myers returned. I've seen it.
Right. I can see the writers in the writers' room now. They're going to be like, it's going to be really, really hard to explain how these guys didn't die.
It was super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
I heard the wind up. My God damn.
I was like, oh wait, here we're going on the ride. Here we go. I knew that was coming. I was like, I liked it.
You can tell these guys have been working with me for a while. But
Frank's setting up his own shots over here. I like what he's doing.
I watch way too many pitch meetings. Like I know.
I
know it's coming.
I like the cut of your jib, Frank. I like what you're working with over there.
Son. Is it going to happen? Probably. It sounds like it. I mean, I don't think that Emilio Estevez would have come out and been that hard on it if it wasn't actually going to happen. So I would imagine it's been greenlit and they're going to start shooting this fall. I mean, but. Again, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be? Because it's not just the whole Legacy sequel. It's 30 years later or whatever. Is it going to work for today's movie-going audiences the way it worked back in the 90s or early 90s, whatever? It's not just that. It's such a. I just think that sometimes we've moved past it all. All these characters aren't going to be. Half these characters aren't going to be around anymore. I mean, William Peterson, the character of Garrett, is out there probably still. Maybe he comes back. I mean, he's been kind of retired anyway, William Peterson. But I don't know.
That's what I want to ask. Who's this movie made for? Like, is it made for like someone like Frank, who you know the original movies because you grew up watching those? And like you said, like with the so-called modern audience of today, I'm like, is it for people now to be like, oh, what is this? And then are they going to watch the old ones? I don't know. I'm just confused. It's like, okay, who's this for? Because it seems like you're trying to draw the attention to the people that grew up with these movies back in the day. But I don't know. That's why there's too much of a gap. We're not even shooting across the whole. We're in like a different fucking parking lot trying to fucking shoot a over into the basket, you know?
And it's not just that, but I mean, I know you said this a minute ago, Frank, but I don't think trilogy rules apply here if more than 2 decades go by. Like,
Yeah,
to
there's
me,
a statute of limitations that need to be put in place here.
that's what I'm saying.
True.
Like,
That's
if
my,
you
that's
can't,
my, yeah.
if your last film can't be accused of a crime now for what it did back then, you don't get trilogy rules anymore. Like, that
No
doesn't
Cosby
work.
sweater for you.
You now go into sequel, requel, whatever term, but you're not trilogy anymore. I mean, hell, even Scream, after Scream 3, they cut that off, and they did 4. They had 5 and 6 planned, but they didn't get 5 and 6 till later on, so they literally restarted a new trilogy on an odd number just because it didn't fit within the timeline. So, I don't think trilogy applies.
True. Yeah, there is a time window to bring out your sequel, and once you get outside of that window, you're not really a part of that series anymore. You're doing something completely new.
You can't sit with us.
Yeah, you can't sit with us anymore. But I don't know. Go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Emilio Estevez has announced that Young Guns 3, whatever they're calling it, Young Guns.
La Bamba 2, anyone? No, Stuart, I'm good. I'm good, brother. No, thank you.
Oh, no, wait. Speaking of you can't sit with us, Tex, I'm sure you saw the trailer for Freaky Friday, too. Come on. I know you did.
My timeline, I felt violated by Elon Musk and his stupid ex. My timeline was full of she who shall not be named for like 2 days. I had to go on a blocking spree just to get rid of that witch. I was not happy. Like, I was like,
I just kind of was like, okay, next. I kept just scrolling. I was like, well,
no, I will not be watching that film. I will not be reviewing that film. If Frank wants to review it, fuck off with your bad self, because you do it while you got.
Maybe that's one of those ones that maybe just me and Cora will do on our own for fun. But
that's
like I even want to go see it, to be perfectly honest, because I
like if I'm even bowing out. If I'm even bowing out, it's like, yeah, no, we're not. I don't even want to.
I'm not even going to apply the Die Hard rule here. I'm just going to tell you to go to hell. I'm not doing it. I'm just flat out. I'm refusing. So it is what it is.
But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Young Guns 3, are you happy it's going to come out? Or do you think that the first 2 movies are really just where it should stay? Go down in the comments below. Let us know your guys' thoughts. Now, moving on to... We're going to go to space. You guys ready to go to space?
Space!
Another Legacy sequel. This one, honestly, has been talked about for... They've been on the verge of kicking this one into gear for like 30 years, it seems like. But a Starship Troopers reboot is now officially in the works at Sony, with Neil Blomkamp, attached to direct the film. Neil Blomkamp is doing his part. The District 9 and Chappie filmmaker is attached to write and direct a new film adaptation of Starship Troopers, the 1959 sci-fi novel by Robert A. Heinlein that was memorably brought to theaters by director Paul Verhoeven with the 1997 satirical spectacle of the same name.
Oh, yeah.
The new project comes from Sony's Columbia Pictures. Would you like to know more? I thought that was a really funny way of ending this little blurb. But look, we've been talking about this. Like I said, this sequel has been something that's been talked about for a long, long time. We reviewed this movie some time ago. We even talked about the prospects of potentially a sequel or a remake or something happening. Of the movies that we've talked about so far, I think this one really has the most promise. I'm not saying that I think it's going to be the great sci-fi epic spectacle that I would want it to be, but this one's got a lot of hope. Let me go to you first, Tex. Starship Troopers. Are you at all interested in seeing a remake? This, now, he did say, I should preface this by saying, he said this is not going to be a remake of the 1990 whatever film. He said it is going to be an adaptation of the book. His adaptation of the book. It had nothing to do with the original film, which is very important designation to make. But give me your thoughts on the idea of Blomkamp doing a very book related heavy version of this movie.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Blomkamp and his film. District 9 and Chappie, I think, are the only 2 that I've seen, and I didn't really care for either of them. Now, from what the researching that I did, when I heard this was coming, and he's going closer to the book and not as satirical as the original film was, which made that so great. I mean, I'm doing my part with the propaganda commercial. For king and country, so many things that it was, it showed what the future could be in a meritocratic state. That's what made that movie so memorable. Didn't they do like 4 or 5 straight to DVD Starship Trooper movies after that? And nobody cared.
2 movies and a computer animated thing.
Well, I know they did. I know there was a handful that came out afterwards that followed the model that Verhoeven did with the original. It didn't hit the same. It didn't have Dina Meyer, Denise Richards, Casper Van Dien, the people that made that movie stand out. I mean, we all love that. Now, I think if they're going to remake this, obviously the charged up political times that we live in today, if you go back to that novel, it kind of plays with what we're working with now. I think a serious version of that could work in today's political climate. The propaganda, the this and that, and everything. I mean, hell, just go on social media if you want to see how political charged it's going. I think it could work. Now, like I said, the director, I'm not really a big fan of his work, but it's going to be real hard to top that first one because, you got to see boobs, bugs getting murdered, and big guns. Like, you've got my attention, now you have my money. This new one's going to have to work hard to prove that.
I don't know, Jeremy, what do you think? Again, we've reviewed the movie, we've seen the original several times between all of us. What do you think about the concept of him doing a more true to book version of a movie?
See, I didn't know it was like that. Something that I thought of. That's kind of an interesting angle because that's something I thought of a few weeks ago. I was like, could you imagine if they made Jurassic Park, but made it more like how the book actually
closer
was?
to the novel.
Like, yeah, because that shit, if you don't know, check it out for yourself. That it is pretty well R-rated. It's some dark shit. It's gruesome. It goes into some pretty excruciating details of like how the characters die and then they get ripped apart by dinosaurs.
Spielberg didn't put any of that in.
Yeah, like there's some horrifying shit in Jurassic Park, but nowhere near as like what happens in the book. So I'm like, I would love to just. I was like, I don't know who would do it or just make. I was like, make a more true to book form of Jurassic Park. Just make it exist in its own thing, and I think that would really hit off well because like we said, you have the originals. It's not like you're trying to be that. You're just trying to make something more true to form. And I think that'd be a cool idea. In this instance, yeah, that would actually be an interesting take. Yeah, like we like the original because it's this almost campy, kind of goofy, over the top thing, and it's kind of time capsule in the 90s.
Oh, it's just a hell of a ride. It's a great movie.
Yeah, like when it hits the gas, it hits the goddamn gas, and it goes through the fucking floorboards. It's insane. It's a fun movie. So I don't know. I can't say that I really know much about the book in this instance, but no, that's a more interesting approach than just like you're trying to be, the other movie or something. So that could be interesting. Like when I thought about Jurassic Park, I'm like, I feel like you should do something like that. Just make something more close to the book. That'd be a cool thing to take on.
Yeah, again, it's the first film, while varying a lot from the book, did take a lot of its themes, which I thought was cool. But I would like something more accurate to the book because I feel like that would be a much more cerebral film than what we got from the first one. Not that the first one was bad. Believe to be absolutely honest, talking about the special effects alone, they now there's a couple shots that didn't age well. But if you think about it, it was gutsy to have a lot of daytime CGI shots because one of the reasons that a lot of horror movies the deaths take place at night, not all but most, is because the darkness allows you to hide the little deficiencies in the effects, whether it be CGI or practical. If you can't really see them on camera, they don't jump out as much at you. It was a bold move to do that big alien attack in the middle of the day. because if any of those effects were off, it was going to,
you'd notice.
especially if you saw it in theaters, it was going to be right in your face, and that could have taken out the entire movie. But the fact that so much of that stuff happens in well-lit areas means that they were really confident about the effects, and the effects, even by today's standards, they hold up pretty well. You can notice some things between then the special effects of then and the special effects of now.
Yeah.
But it was very, very good. I would love to see modern special effects take on some of this stuff. I would love to see that along with a more, like I said, cerebral, more thought-invoking look at some of the themes of the first movie, and that the book most certainly tries to touch base on. The militaristic aspect of how
doing
how
your
a
part.
country runs, doing your part. The themes of the coming of age.
Good bug is a dead bug.
The moral decline that they kind of, they don't really explore much in the movie, but in the book it really does. I would like to see that, because I like to see more of a thinking man's movie along with all the action and bugs and stuff like that. I would want to see another version of the bug coming down with a tentacle and going through that guy's skull and sucking his brain out and watching his face kind of like cave in. I would love to see stuff like that as well. But I would love to see a little bit more, a few more dialogue heavy scenes that drive some of those things more than we got in the first movie.
If I were making this, they need to go dark horror instead of comedy horror, which is what you can call it. The first one, right? Like they need to go. Don't go as comedic in the tone, but like go more dialogue heavy with the themes. But once you get into the war battles and get hardcore with the blood, guts, and gore. I mean, we've got movies that are going balls to the wall here. They don't hold back anymore. So a darker take on this subject could benefit from that. You have to go as different from the original film as possible to even have a chance. Because if you even compare to that original, you're not going to win. It's just not going to make it.
Yeah, I think this has a lot of promise. I'm not going to lie. I think there's a lot of interest in this for me. I think there's a lot of interest in it for a lot of movie fans, because that, like I said, that they got enough out of that first movie to try different things in a couple more movies and do like the computer animated thing that they did. So they think they've got something there as well. So let's explore it a little more, give it a modern treatment, redo it. As far as what's his name, Blumkamp getting into it. Look, I like District 9. I thought that was kind of a cerebral movie. It wasn't just about aliens and fighting aliens. I thought there was a lot of thought-provoking shit in that movie that made it different, made it unique. Look, you could have just had a bunch of aliens running around and attacking people. That's great for moments, but it's not what you base a story on. You base a story on the people. You base a story on the situations and interactions. That's what drives storytelling. And I like what he did with District 9. I wasn't big on some of his films. I mean, what was Chappie? I thought was okay. It wasn't great. He did, what was the one? Elysium, the one with Jodie Foster and Matt Damon, which I thought was interesting, but it's not great, but interesting.
It wasn't.
But one of the things that gives me a lot of hope is that he does take these introspective looks at these things rather than just making it about, oh, Matt Damon, big star, has got this exoskeleton and he's fighting against the corporate bad guys on this whatever, and it's all action and no real substance. I like how he makes it a bit more of a thinking movie. He challenges the thought process of the viewer when it's necessary, and lets that be what drives the film, as opposed to just Matt Damon's doing Matt Damon stuff. He's being born in space or something like that. And he's giving you a more cerebral look at his story, which I think is kind of cool. That's why I feel very optimistic about this. Is the movie going to be awesome? I have no idea. Right now, I'm 50-50 on whether this thing is going to be awesome or whether it's going to suck ass. But I'm leaning towards being very optimistic about this because of what I've seen from Blumkamp in the past and what I think the movie can be if you make it something a little more true to the book. I may have to go pick up the book and try to read it this summer, because I've been wanting to try to tackle this book for a while. And my youngest son's been getting into reading and stuff. My dad was a big reader, and so now I'm kind of like, maybe I'll try to grab this book up, and because it's only like 250 pages or something like that. It's not a very long book at all, so I could probably blow through it in a week or two if I really sat down, in my free time and read. But yeah, I'm optimistic about the whole thing. I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and there's opportunity here again, because Starship Troopers is one of those movies that was a killer concept that maybe that effects weren't ready for, and maybe viewers weren't quite ready for what the book was to be turned into film, turned into something on the big screen. So I think maybe now is the time to do something like that. We've all got that good taste in our mouth in the original from the original film. Now let's hit them with the real version of what this story is. Let's put the paper stuff and put it on screen and give you the visual of what this movie is. I think now's a good time to do that. And again, it's not like there isn't enough ways for you to connect it to the modern political bullshit that's happening all over the world to kind of do that. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Yes, Stuart, Blumkamp was supposed to be doing an Alien movie, and that fell through. I don't remember exactly why. Yeah, he was going to be doing.
Well,
I think he was going to be doing a straight up sequel. But for whatever reason, it never happened.
no, he did. Blomkamp directed Alien 5.
I heard he was going to be doing another one.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know about another one. But I mean, as far as Aliens on Earth, it's gonna Alien Earth is a show we're getting, I believe, this year. Right? Yeah. On it's a series on.
I think that Blumkamp did it, though, did he?
Is it Hulu or Net? It's not Netflix. It's either, I think it's Hulu, right? I can't remember. But
I think it's supposed to be like it's like a prequel, right? Like more closer to our time right now than
it's in. Right? The Alien Earth TV show that's coming out is in like the prime timeline of all of the movies. But
yeah, he's not directing that. That's going to be written and directed by Noah Hawley, who himself is actually a pretty good director.
Yeah, that's by somebody. But we are getting a now. How much of it will be on Earth? I don't know. This is Aliens being made by Disney. I saw their Predator movie Prey, and I wasn't impressed. I'm not holding my breath.
Aliens on Earth, when Alien versus Predator, we already had 2 movies of that. So
it's serving as a prequel and is set 2 years before the events of the 1979 film Alien. And it stars Timothy Olyphant, which is going to be awesome. Alien Earth is set to be released on FX and Hulu in the United States, but it doesn't say exactly when. It just says it's.
So that means it's
set like 100-some years from now. So
hang on. When was the new this most recent Alien film? That was like Romulus. That was before the original Alien, or no? It was 1.5. No. It was after. Okay, yeah.
It was after 1, but before 2.
Before 2, yeah, but because they called it 1.5, yeah, that's right.
It was like a few years after, because they hadn't found Ripley yet.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that Alien timeline might be harder to figure out than the X-Men timeline.
You and me are sitting here like, Jesus Christ, we figured it out. Michael Myers in Texas, but we're like, what the hell?
We are very well educated on this horror kind of time myself. We can break down some shit. And even this alien stuff is hard for us to figure out. Jesus
Christ. Me a headache.
At least they have better continuity than the Fox X-Men stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They haven't retconned anything yet, so that's,
The Fox X-Men movies will give you an aneurysm trying to figure out. But,
I'd rather have a fucking thing burst out of your chest.
But go down to the console. Let us know what you guys think. Starship Troopers being not rebooted. It's not a reboot of the original movie. It's actually going to be more true to the original novel from the late 1950s. So go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about the potential remake of Starship Troopers. Now it's time to get on.
Leave a comment.
It's time to get on. I know Tex has been trying to avoid this.
Tissues.
He's been suffering. His beer can is.
It's still real to me, damn it! It's still real to me.
The wounds are fresh. Let's see. Saw reportedly. This is from our friends at MSN and Screen Rant. Saw 11 reportedly has been canceled, with production having halted almost a year ago. This article says that Saw 11 has reportedly been canceled, with production of the horror sequel having halted over a year ago, according to a new update about the movie. Saw 11 was confirmed not long after Saw X was released, the 10th installment of the gore-splattered horror franchise, which earned critical and commercial success. The sequel was originally scheduled for release on September 27th of 2024, before being pushed back an entire year to 2025. Since then, there has been no news on what to expect in the 11th movie in the series. According to Bloody Disgusting, Saw 11 has quietly been canceled, with a source revealing production hasn't been moving forward for, quote, almost a year now. The report claims infighting amongst producers stalled production in January of 2024, with one trying to plow forward on the movie while another tried halting its progress. Lionsgate didn't have anyone to step in and negotiate a path forward, effectively leading to the sequel's cancellation. This, in turn, means the franchise has also ended with Saw 10. However, the report noted that if more movies are made, they'll likely, quote, start over.
Oh, no. God. Fucking kill me, man. Jesus Christ.
Well, let me go ahead and go to Jeremy first, because I know that...
Yeah, please go ahead. Please.
Tex has a lot to say. Tex has a lot to say. I think we all do, really. But I'll go to you first, Jay. I mean, we reviewed Saw 10, Saw X when it came out. I thought it was a pretty good movie, closer to the first couple of movies. But the franchise has had diminishing returns in a lot of different ways over the years. What do you think? What is your reaction to this news that the Saw franchise is likely coming to an end?
Well, at least now I know why. I just kind of heard that, and I was like, well, I don't really know what the cause is. Does it just kind of stall? Was it like what it sounded like to me was like we just can't decide on something here, and it just kind of, that's something that'll kill a movie pretty quick if no one's there to pick up the pieces, which is a weird thing to say about the Saw movies, but, picking up pieces is what we do here. Directly or indirectly, which, again, I don't know. Did he kill the people? Did he not? I don't know, man. It's not that I wouldn't want to watch it. I mean, I would definitely watch 11 because I watched 10 and I was like, you know what? No, that was pretty solid. I actually enjoyed it. It felt a little more true to form because it is still the very small, narrow timeline that they corner themselves into, that they're trying to squeeze like 10 movies out of 3 movies worth of time. Because you realize, oh, we killed our main antagonist. Oh, shit, we shouldn't have done that, right? Because you got Tobin Bell.
Darren Lynn Bell.
Yeah, you got Tobin Bell, who's the best part of these movies, obviously, And, I mean, when I first saw them, I thought, okay, holy shit, there's a trilogy. You killed him at the end of the 3rd movie. I thought, damn, that's a hell of a way to, and there's still, of course, a little gotcha at the end. I'm like, well, there always is. And then I thought, okay, that was fun. Then they're making 4. I'm like, oh, why? What are we doing? Oh, it's the autopsy. It's the aftermath. I'm like, okay, I can still get behind that. That's interesting because, of course, he would still have breadcrumbs. And as I've said, I was like, I tried to watch 5 when it came out, and I tried to watch 6. I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I gave up. And then I dressed up for I don't know how many weeks. Came on your text, and I fucking...
Didn't we do it in 3 weeks or 4? I think we did it in 3. I can't remember.
Something like we chopped it up into some like sections. It might have been 4 because I think we did like 3. Tried to do like 3 each or something like that.
Yeah, I think we did 3, and then we did Saw X by itself.
Yeah, it was like 3 things of 3, I think, and then we did Saw X. You're right. But I was just thinking, wow, this is good. I don't have to dress up again on a Monday night to review this fucking movie. I'm kidding. I don't know. Like I said, we've gotten to, I don't know how much more we're going to squeeze out of this. That, like I said, you're either having flashbacks or prequel things that happened before the first movie, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but this is getting a little ridiculous. Now, I was like, I know I'm going to get my head bit off when I say like we're at like Fast and Furious levels of movies. I'm like, now hold your fucking horses. Bring them in. At least the Saw movies don't have the ridiculousness that the Fast and the Furious have. That is
Jigsaw hasn't went to space yet. He has not went to space, by God.
Don't, because they might. They might. You never know. I'm just saying. Now, like I said, this is a little more like it makes more sense. Like I said, I didn't get tired of 10 movies of this as I did with Fast and the Furious. So, to be fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to what it would have been, and if that's really it. I mean, I don't know.
I know what it would have been. I saw the reports today.
Yeah, it's like when we were talking. I just watched as my yearly tradition. I watched the Boondock Saints yesterday for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm like, whether 3 gets made or not, Troy Duffy wrote that script and like just basically handed the reins off to somebody. I'm like, I just want to know what it is. I just want to know what that fucking script says. I want to know what the story is you have in place, even if you don't make it. I'm just really curious as to what it's going to be. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
I might as well take a break because let him.
He's like,
I'll be listening, but just give me a second.
I'm gonna need a therapy pet here in a minute.
Right.
Here, I can tell you the reaction as soon as Tech saw this dude.
Emotional damage.
That's exactly what happened.
You're not wrong. There was a lot more swearing in mine, but whatever. But yeah,
there was
this
definitely
one
the Southern
sucked.
drawl was getting thrown all over the state of Texas.
Yeah,
But Tex, I'm gonna give you the floor now because I know you have a whole lot to say about this. So I mean, go off on your rants, and I'll give you some of my my quick thoughts when you're done.
yeah. This is what I'm saying. I'm obviously the resident hardcore. I'm the most hardcore of hardcore when it comes to Saw fans. I love the franchise as much as I love Chainsaw, I love Halloween. As a whole, I love the Saw franchise more than any of them. It's the most solid out of any of them. It's only, in my opinion, they've only really had one bad movie, that abortion with Chris Rock in it, which I don't even count. But we got Saw X. We finally got as Frank talked about a minute ago, it wasn't as good as the originals. There was no way a new one could ever, but it was solid. You got Tobin Bell back. We got back Amanda. We got my boy Hoffman came back for a second. I couldn't tell you how happy I was to see Hoffman there at the end. And, they did kind of play fast and loose with the Jigsaw character a little bit. They did some things I wouldn't have character-wise in that movie, but I loved it. It was a Saw movie back live action. I've got the light-up Saw popcorn bucket right on top of my beer fridge right over there I'm looking at right now. I got it from that. And I was so excited when Saw 11 was announced. I couldn't wait. Then we didn't hear anything for a while. I'm like, okay, maybe they're working behind the scenes, whatever. It is what it is. But then, David Zaslav and his acts, like he likes to do with Warner Brothers, comes down on top of this movie that he doesn't even have control of. And we're getting fucked. And all because producers are arguing and yada, yada. We're going to let business get in the way of money. Like, I can understand if Saw X was bad. Like, if you told me the Chris Rock Saw movie, if that was the last one that got made and they didn't make any others because that one failed, I could have understood it. I could have accepted that even as a Saw fan. I would have been fine. But Saw X was profitable. People liked the movie creatively, financially. I mean, it did good all around. It makes no sense to kill this movie. It is stupid. Tobin Bell is not getting any younger. I mean, we saw how bad Amanda looked with her plastic surgery in Saw X. She ain't getting no better. I saw a picture of her at a con the other day, and she looked like her grandmother, like what it should be. She ain't looking good. So we are quickly running out of time to have a quality Tobin Bell effort in a Saw movie. You can't just reboot Saw. Saw is Tobin Bell, Jigsaw, John Kramer. The same. Why have we not had another a good Freddy Krueger movie? Because you don't have Robert Englund. He's the face. He's the voice. He's the Darth Vader. He's the James Earl Jones of this universe. You can't just reboot him, throw a mask on him, and be done. You have to have him there in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, I do have a plan for if Saw goes forward. We don't need to reboot. We need to go back to whenever we did our show sequels that we want. What sequel did I say? I said Jigsaw 2 featuring Logan as the antagonist. Pick up from that film and go forward. All we really have to have is some tapes with John, or you can manipulate that with AI and have it be Logan. That's fine. I don't want to see a reboot. I don't want to see the woke version of Saw with a black John Kramer or a Chinese. I don't want to see it change. Saw it's one of the few horror franchises that has one concurrent timeline, and they haven't diverted. We don't have like 3 different, Texas Chainsaw timelines, 15 different Halloween. We have one that is sacred in the world of horror. We need to preserve that. I don't want to see a reboot. If they don't make this movie, I'll be out real honest with you. I don't want to see another one because I don't want to see maybe my all-time favorite franchise get bastardized with some other version. That would make me sick. I would fucking hate it.
I forgot Saw also had a final chapter as well, and they kept making movies. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, Saw 3D. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, every horror franchise Jason had the final chapter at number 4, and we're on number 12 at this point. You know,
it was a final nightmare. Yeah. So
right.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I'm of two minds about this because after watching Saw X, I was like, this is a pretty good movie. It's much closer to the first couple movies, which I liked. But I can't. Once you get past the 3 in a franchise, you start to really walk a fine line between either A, rehashing shit, or B, turning to gimmicks to try to keep your shit new and fresh. And one of the things that I loved the most about the very first movie is like it all happens in one room. It's you feel claustrophobic.
Oh, it's a great movie,
which enhances the fear that you feel as you're seeing these characters go through what they're going through. It was a unique experience because it's really hard to do a new horror movie and make it unique. I mean, because every slasher film or horror movie tends to be kind of the same thing. Crazy guy with a mask beating up people for whatever his reasons are. That's kind of the baseline story of almost any slasher at this point. But this one was different. This John Kramer guy, you don't even see him till the last 12 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, and he says,
you don't know it's him till the last 12 seconds of the movie.
He says 2 sentences. The key for that chain is over against the wall, and then game over. That's all you get of him in the first movie.
It was such a great kind of shocking ending. It was so unique. Yeah. It was so wonderfully done, so wonderfully shot, so wonderfully written, so wonderfully acted. But the problem is, and it's what I keep saying, is once you get past the trilogy mark, it gets really, really hard to make these things new. I mean,
especially when you kill the main fucking bad guy too in the third one.
But
which was a big mistake. Which to me is where the series ultimately dies.
I'm like, you should have kept going.
That's one thing I will say though. Yes, they should not have killed off John in 3.
Yeah,
but I would argue that Saw 4, 5, and 6, the Hoffman trilogy, as I've deemed it, is the best of Saw. It's concurrent. Hell, 4 and 5 are taking place at the same time. Now, you don't find that out till the end of the movies. You know, that's the twist. But Saw 4, 5, and 6, a lot of people had, like y'all had said, had jumped off by that point because they weren't the hardcore nerd like myself. But I saw 4, 5, and 6 were solid, man. Like they telling the anti-Jigsaw story where he's taking the same kind of tool, but he's actually killing with it, whereas John didn't, to show that differential. I would stand on 4, 5, and 6 being the better film, but I could argue that all day.
I think my little teenage brain just couldn't handle it at the time. I was just like, "What the?"
Well, of course, yeah.
I watched it now. Like I said, I watched it with, for the show, and I was like, "Okay, this is a little better than I remember it being." So I gave a little more credit.
Saw for being all blood guts, either cut your arm off in 90 seconds or you die. For it being that simple, it's a very complex, layered story that it took me years of rewatching these films, of studying these things to the ins and the outs, the layers. But this is why I know this crap.
It's more than that because Kramer is a good character.
Yes. Oh, he's an amazing character.
He's not just the guy in the mask.
He's so complex.
That silently stalks the people that he's killing. He's like, one of the things I kind of liked about the series is that while he's in it anyway, is that you get bits and pieces of his story that fill his character out along the way. Mm-hmm. And you don't really get that about a lot of slasher movie characters. Like you kind of get it with Freddy, and then they kind of turn away from that, and it's all about stupid shit. Same thing with like Jason. You find out why he died.
Freddy became nothing but
next thing you know, he's in fucking space floating around, half Terminator, half android, whatever bullshit, and he's killing people on Mars. It's like they completely lose track of what makes these stories interesting. The background of the killer, they completely lose track of all that shit, and it's like we're just about the visuals now. And I think that's I think one of the things they tried to do with Spiral is they tried to focus more on storytelling and less on gore and stuff. And I'm like, well,
That didn't really work.
This movie is really kind of centered about the crazy traps that he puts these people in. So if that's not a big part of your focus as kind of a way of telling the story, you're kind of missing what this whole franchise is about. And I think that's one of the reasons why why that particular movie didn't do very well. Because you go and get real actors who have a history of actually reading dialogue and doing stuff like that, and try to focus more on the dialogue and stuff where it's like, people do ultimately come to see the machine that chops somebody's leg off if they don't chop their own leg off over in a certain
of course.
And then of course,
the gore gets them in the door.
And then of course no Kramer. Yeah. So which
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's why we went back to form with 10, and 10 did fucking a lot better than Spiral. I'm like, yeah, that's what we wanted.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, my problem with the whole thing is like I said, you've got once you get past that third film, it gets really, really hard. And I'm okay with it ending right here for a couple of reasons. Number one,
and on a good note.
And on a good note. Saw 10 was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was as good as the first one in my mind. End on that, I'm happy. Number two, don't make another one. Wait till Tobin Bell's been dead for 10 or 15 years. Wait until what this franchise is out of the public consciousness for everybody except for Tex. and go after the new generation.
Hashtag never forget. Hashtag never forget.
And make something for the next generation of film goers, because thankfully we're getting out of the woke stuff in Hollywood now. We're starting to transition away from it. I think a lot of
I'm not holding my breath.
A lot of companies are getting away from it now. So hopefully, as a new generation of filmmakers come in, they're not going to be obsessed with that kind of nonsense. And they're going to be able to make a straight up gore, movie again with a good John Kramer who we can really who we can really sink our teeth into. Someone who we kind of want to root for as he's making people chop their own limbs off. That's kind of the attraction to this to this story, is that you're almost in a way rooting for the bad guy. You're rooting for John Kramer to make people injure themselves, or for these traps to go off and smash their heads with thorns or whatever. You're kind of waiting for that. So I say let it end now, because like I said, once you get to like the fourth, fifth, sixth film, you're just running on fumes, man. And it's really sad to make. It's really sad to see these characters go on and on and on and on and on when because the last couple of movies, they just look sad. I mean, look, for not Friday the 13th, for Freddy. They had to make Freddy real. That was the gimmick. They had to be like, he's not a movie anymore. He's a real person now in the movie, of course. But they had to go that route because they were just out of gimmicks. They're like, screw it. We're going to say that the actual actors in the original movie, that they're the ones being haunted by Freddy now, because what else are we to do with this character? Because we just want to see Robert Englund with the burn scars and the fucking claws on a movie one more time to try to sell some tickets. That's why we're making that change. That gimmick, Freddy, I didn't like the gimmick. It was a decent movie, but I didn't like the gimmick.
Oh, I like New Nightmare. That's actually one of my favorite Nightmare films. But Freddy Krueger started to go downhill the minute he became MTV Freddy, when he was just one liner punchline and saying bitch every other sentence. Like that's when. Now that was the most profitable time for Freddy.
From the MTV generation, though.
Right, but what I'm saying is, go watch Nightmares 1 and 2, and then watch Dream Warriors on. That's a complete different character. That's not the same Freddy anymore. Now Nightmare 2, that's the worst one in my opinion. But as far as Freddy goes,
than 1.
Well.
One is like actually kind of horrifying. I'm like, God damn.
Well, I'll say this.
Blu-ray started to get goofy. I was like, okay.
Out of all the big slashers, the Nightmare franchise has aged the worst and has held up the worst. If you look at it as a whole, even watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street, yes, it's a dated film, but it's not. It hasn't aged gracefully. Heather Langenkamp, she's not a great actress. She was whatever in the movie. It's always my least favorite of all of the big four or whatever. But with Saw here, what Saw did in the early 2000s was a renaissance of that 80s slasher period. We were getting one a year for like 5 years in a row, or like 6 years in a row, whatever. I was there for literally all of them, which is partially why I love these movies so much. Young Tex was clamoring to if it's Halloween, it must be Saw. I'll never forget that marketing line in my life. It's the most beautiful tagline that you could ever think of. And I don't think we're going to get another run of Saw. Once again, I'll bring up the 2009 Friday the 13th movie. And Dr. Nick even commented earlier, he didn't like the movie. He's a huge Jason head. Now, it was the most profitable, and it's my favorite Friday out of all of them, but we only got one of those. Now, the lawsuit has a lot to do with that because the film made over like $100 million or something. But I don't think we will ever get another run of, I don't think we'll ever get another trilogy of Saw films if we don't make them now. And this is why I want Saw 11 to happen. Tobin Bell and Amanda don't have to be the leads. We've got Logan. We've got Hoffman out there. Dr. Gordon's still floating around. Carrie Elwes, bring him back, please. There's a lot we can use here that they didn't touch in Saw X. We got like this much of Hoffman. I'd love to see my boy come back. I'm just saying, there's so much meat on this bone that we can get out before. I know movies if movies don't stop, they end up in production hell. There's still good movies to be had here. That's all that I'm saying. Now, to answer y'all's questions, what the basic story was, John Kramer was going to be going after a healthcare executive for not covering his health insurance. What just happened in the news here recently with that Luigi?
I think we saw this movie, didn't we?
That's one of the reasons why that movie probably.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if y'all read that or not, but I guarantee you, when that happened, they're like, okay, we got to retool this movie at a minimum because
they did make that movie though. They made like the healthcare.
Yeah, well, in Saw 6. Yeah, that was in Saw 6. That was commenting on the
but that was also
Affordable Care Act or whatever. Yeah,
that was also for the time it was in. So I'm like, well, you got away with that.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know if it's still
right.
too on the nose that like now he's gonna go kill this like healthcare CEO.
Right.
It's like, well,
no, it's that. So. I understand. I mean, hell, Scream 3 got canned because of a Columbine shooting. They had to completely scrap that movie, and they changed it to look at what we got. This isn't a new thing in Hollywood, but it just sucks. Tobin Bell's in his 80s. He's not going to be doing this forever. Now, the one thing I do hope that Tobin Bell does is do the James Earl Jones thing with his voice for Darth Vader. I hope Tobin Bell signs some kind of contract with Twisted Pictures. Just go record. Just pay the man to talk for 6 months and just store this stuff. So going into the future, we have his voice. If you do not have that voice, don't have a Saw film.
Well,
we need to preserve that.
Just his voice, though. I think it's his likeness as well, because the voice and the likeness.
Well, no, but
so with that, if you just have his voice in a movie, is that going to be enough?
It would be enough.
To not see him, you have to really make that work.
It would be enough considering the fact that in the real world we know the man's in his 80s. He can't do this anymore, but at least we have this. So for the Saw loyalist, that's enough to grip onto. I think fans would be happy with that. Frank, did you ever watch Jigsaw, the spinoff of all the original ones?
I don't think so, no. But
you didn't get much help. Well, that was the one that introduced Logan, who was the soldier, who was technically Jigsaw happens before and after the first 7 movies. But like I said, Saw timeline. You have to have a college level degree to understand this shit.
We need the board like with Charlie Day. Like we're trying to fucking.
I can do it. Give me a whiteboard back here. I can write it all out. But if we just have the voice going forward, it would work. But
let me go into some numbers real quick with you guys because I think the numbers are important. So
yeah, of course they are.
And this is Wikipedia. Take it as you will. Maybe I should go to By the Numbers. I think I will. Let me go to By the Numbers real quick. I feel like I might be able to trust those. I know that I can't always trust Wikipedia, so I'm gonna go to By the Numbers because I feel like that's gonna do better. Let's see.
JSP says Stephen King yanked his novel Rage off the shelf at the Columbine. Yeah, Columbine changed a lot of shit. Have you seen the Wolf Creek
stuff changed?
And then we got 1-2 punch with 9/11 right after that.
Yeah.
I forgot to type F in franchise. Good job, Frank, for not being able to fucking type shit. Okay.
I think I saw one of the Wolf Creek movies. I don't think I've seen too many of the others. I don't know.
The only one it has in here is Jigsaw. That's unfortunate because now I'm going to have to use Wikipedia, who I don't like. But, okay, well, anyway, we're just going to go ahead and use the Wikipedia numbers here, and you guys can see it right there.
Yeah, it's all just...
Now, now, I'm not talking about worldwide here, although it does kind of track worldwide with maybe a couple of exceptions. Actually, it does track worldwide down the line. But just looking at the U.S. box office, you guys can see right there, only 3 of the Saw movies have made more than $50 million. Everything else, including Saw 10, which is a good movie, did not perform terribly well. Now, versus budget, they do make money. They're profitable.
I was going to say,
compared
to
the
not
budget, make a ton of money, which means that technically speaking, a lot of people aren't going to see this because not only is horror kind of a niche thing anyway, as much as we may enjoy it, it doesn't draw the way that other stuff draws. It's profitable. I mean, Saw X, for example, $13 million budget made worldwide, $111 million. It was profitable. I think I saw something when I was doing some reading about this that said the movie profited $100 million, which is no small chunk of change.
I think so. But there's movies in theater right now that get pushed out more that won't make that money. I'm just saying.
But they're not part. But they're different genres though. You have to look at genres differently. Like a sci-fi movie is going to draw a lot bigger than a horror movie. That's just the way it's always been. And even if you try to combine the two in something like Alien, it's always going to be looked at as more of a sci-fi movie or even an action movie than it is a horror movie. Horror is in the description somewhere. Now, if you're looking at Rotten Tomatoes, only 2 movies have been generally liked by the reviewers. Everything else is below 40%. Saw X, obviously very good.
Yeah, but
rated high.
How many
Saw,
of the...
which I think is good. And then after that, there's a significant drop off in score.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, horror critics don't like horror film. They have never done it. Whether it's Siskel and Ebert, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, all of them. None of them ever like horror. That horror has always been the redheaded stepchild of the movie industry. They were just barely above pornography. So all of those ratings there mean dick to the horror fans who are paying to go see these movies that make every one of the... I don't think Saw has had a film that wasn't profitable. Now, it may not be $1 billion film, but they've been profitable.
The only one that, if you go back up a little bit, the only one I was looking at them, I think the only one that really fucking dropped the ball was Spiral for $20 million budget and 23 making it back.
And Spiral was not a Saw movie. I've already proved that point on.
I was like, that's the one I was trying to look at budget compared to like, that's the only one that really kind of fell flat. I mean, it's still insane to me that Saw was for $1 million and made $56 million. That is fucking insane, and I love that.
Now, of course,
2 made like $4 million, 87. Yeah, they all worked except for Spiral.
The law of diminishing returns affects all. It doesn't matter what it is. But one thing I can say for Saw is, besides Spiral, because I don't even count that as a Saw movie. That's at best a Saw adjacent. They borrowed a name. Chris Rock wanted to make a horror film.
That's the thing. Why is that one actually the most expensive? Now I see it. Yeah.
Because Chris Rock. That's why.
I guess, but
I guarantee you the majority of that. But I mean, the movie didn't look expensive. The traps weren't over the top. Hell, half of it was CGI. I guarantee you the most of that went to Chris Rock's paycheck. But every one of these movies has been profitable compared to the budget. I don't know if those numbers have been adjusted for inflation or not. I have no idea. But either way,
I don't think they adjust numbers for inflation.
There's only about 20 years difference here. I don't know if we really have a whole lot.
But... Either way, Saw is a profitable franchise. It's one of those. I've said it on here a dozen times. It's one of those franchises. I can go to Walmart right now in a non-Halloween season, and I can buy Saw merchandise alongside Michael Myers and Halloween and Jason Voorhees. It is an established IP that the horror fans latch onto and love. I guarantee you, if Saw 11 came out in September this year, it would have been profitable. Guaranteed.
And apparently they already have a budget listed there, at least as far as this thing is concerned. It's got $13 million, which, again, you're keeping it under.
That's nothing in today's. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're still keeping it under the wire, and you could easily make a good amount of money back. Like, where is X? Right there. So 13, same budget, 13 million, and you made 53 back, even on
Right. Are you telling me that half of these movies that come up today, if you said, hey, you'll make over double of your budget, they wouldn't be over the moon. Like, that's crazy to me.
You have to make like 2 or 3 times your budget to at least be, it's a good.
Yeah,
good
that's what I'm saying.
And all of these did that again, except for
you got to remember, a lot of that's marketing too. Like they're
it's
not going to spend
marketing.
as much money marketing.
Of course, yeah.
Saw 11 as they would spend marketing, say, an Avengers movie. Like they're going to spend $200 million marketing an Avengers movie at bare minimum. They're going to spend $5 million marketing Saw 11. So,
and guess what? The houses will be full. Like it may be filled with the horror hounds, but guess what? Horror hounds go see these movies multiple times. I've seen it myself. There is no more loyal and ravenous as a fan base as the horror fans are. I mean, we go out for these things. Saw 11 would have been profitable. Yes, is it outrageous that the film would be based on an 80-year-old Jigsaw? Yes, I get it. It's outrageous, but guess what? We dig this shit. This is ours. We want it. We'll pay for it.
There's another thing to point out here, is that eventually all good things must come to an end. I
get that.
I was having a conversation with my son the other day. We're all 49er fans in my immediate family, and
I'll pray for
you. We were talking about how all these players are leaving and all that, and this great team that we have enjoyed for the last several years has kind of come apart. And I was just like, well, you're young. You don't know what this feels like. You're getting your first exposure. I, having been a sports fan for all of my life, have seen my teams build up this great group of guys that are successful, and then eventually those guys have to go away. They have to retire. The business of the sport takes them somewhere else. I told him, I was like, I remember being a teenager, being 14, 15 years old when Joe Montana left the 49ers. It's like literally my entire life, Joe Montana had been the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And it was tough for me to understand that at first. I didn't know anything about the business side of the game. So watching that, so I told him, I was like, I'm pushing 50. He's about to turn 21. I was like, this is the first time you've had to deal with this. I was like, if you're a fan of a sports team long enough, you're going to see this thing kind of turn over several times. They're going to build, then they're going to have this transition period, then they're going to build and have a transition period. I think this is just the natural course of action sometimes for something that happens for a long time, like the Saw franchise. Eventually, it has to come to an end. Why not let it come to an end now? You're ending it on a high note. Saw X is a pretty good movie. How you got to wonder, do you just keep beating this thing into the ground until Tobin Bell actually shuffles loose the mortal coil, and you stop making movies just because you don't have him anymore? And regardless of whether he signs his likeness and voice rights, whatever. I personally think that's a terrible fucking idea, and I wouldn't want to do it. I think a lot of actors sign those deals now because they're like, I'm going to be dead. What do I care? I want the money now, so I can at least leave that shit to my family. I wouldn't want to do that. And I know a lot of actors have spoken out against that. They're like, when I die, I want my career to end too. I don't want to be in a movie 50 years after I die. But it's like, why not end it now on a high note when Tobin Bell can kind of leave with a big win and let him live out the rest of his life? I don't think he's done acting. Let him go on and do some other things. He's done stuff away from this franchise, which I thought was pretty good. He actually played Air Force Chief of Staff or something like that in a couple episodes of The West Wing.
He plays a priest. There's a Spanish American horror film where Tobin Bell plays a priest. It's a Beelzebub is the title of the film. He plays really good in that movie. He's not in all of the movie, but it's worth watching. But to answer the question that you just posed, yes, all good things must end. And as a sports fan, as a Dallas Cowboys a suffering of 30 years Dallas Cowboys sports fan, I saw my team winning Super Bowls. I know what it was like. I could have walked away from Saw X completely satisfied, never seeing another one again, if they hadn't, 1, announced another film, 2, went into production, and 3, put out the date and everything else. If they had not hung the bait of another one, that's why it leaves a bad taste. If those 3 things hadn't happened, and we saw Jigsaw and Amanda walk out that door with that kid, and that's the last time we ever saw it, that could have been the end. Like, we got Wolverine's end in Logan. I could have been happy with that. But knowing that they were going to make more, right? But
Yeah, I'm looking through Tobin Bell's credits to try to make my point, and I'm looking at this list. And I'm like, holy shit! I haven't seen half these movies in like 20 years or more. He was in
I'll be
Sophie's
right back.
Choice. He was in Sophie's Choice with
Oh shit.
with Meryl
Meryl
Streep,
Streep.
Oscar-winning movie. He was in The Verdict in 1982 with Paul Newman. He was in Tootsie, small role, uncredited role. Let's see. He was in a movie that was one of my favorite movies in the 80s. It's a really small, kind of niche movie called Turk 182. That's a really interesting movie. He was in Mississippi Burning. He was an innocent man with Tom Selleck. He was in Goodfellas in a small part. He played in Ruby, which was a good movie about Jack Ruby and the whole thing surrounding him. The Firm with Tom Cruise. In the Line of Fire with John Malkovich and Clint Eastwood. The Quick and the Dead.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
so it's not like this guy hasn't been in some stuff. And then, of course, he's not a big name at this point. And then, of course, in 2004, the first Saw comes out, and then there he is everywhere. But all the Saw movies, I'm trying to find some non-Saw related stuff that he was in. I mean, obviously a lot of horror stuff from that point on because that he kind of became.
That's the big sell.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he's been in some other stuff, and of course Saw 10. He's in this movie called The Bunker, which looks kind of interesting. 2004 American science fiction horror film. Blah blah blah. Oh, Tony Todd was in it too, as well.
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
And then in some television stuff. Oh, he was in Alien Nation. That was a good television show.
Interesting.
Based on the movie. The movie was better, but the TV show was pretty good. He had a thing in Seinfeld, NYPD Blue, ER.
Yeah, and Seinfeld, he was the record guy. Whenever Newman went in there to buy the record or whatever, that's what Tobin Bell played on Seinfeld.
Yeah, Nash Bridges, The X-Files, The Sopranos, Alias.
Yeah.
He played Colonel Whitcomb in The West Wing. They only got him in one episode. He was in 24, 4 episodes of 24. He was in The Flash. He was Dr. Alchemy in The Flash. He was in this new MacGyver TV series, which I never watched. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So it's not like it's not like his career. His career prospects are going to dry up.
Oh no,
he's
not
built a career for himself. So let the guy go do his thing and end his career and his life the way he wants to, instead of ending it on a downer by having to fight.
Oh, of course,
it's never going to be what he wants it to be again anyway.
I'm not saying I would, chain him to the studio basement and say you can only make Saw movies till you die. Would never say that. But like I said, I could have walked away still sad, but satisfied that we got what we did in Saw X, if nothing else had been announced. But knowing how things went down, it will forever be within the lexicon of the Saw movie that was to never be. That there's so many, like in the world of horror that will go. There's so many great unmade films. Hell, there's an entire book of scripts of Halloween movies that never got made. There's so many in this. This is just the newest one to that pile. And as the Saw fan of this channel, it sucks knowing that we could have had, and for it not to come. So,
because the awkward part is like I said, I wanted to know what that was, and then I'm like, well, I know we know what it is now, but I'm like, I would now have wanted it to be good, because now the awkward part is if it does get made and it sucks, I'm like, well, now what?
Right. So. Well, because let's play this out. Yes, in Saw 6, he went after a leader of a health insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
What they could have done with this one is, let's say there was other people going after this guy as well. John is not just doing games to the businessman, but to the people who were also going after him. Maybe there's big elaborate game where John's trying to teach them all a lesson. That's something a Saw movie would have done. It wouldn't have just been, you're a bad guy, cut your arm off or you're dead. There would have been a moral message. It would have been something deeper, something for the fans to chew on. We're never going to get that. And, maybe they can turn it into a comic book or, I don't know, do something with that story, but I would love to see what it would have been.
Yeah, I do feel like it's just time to let this thing go. As much as it sucks to say as much as it sucks for Tex to hear, like I said, all good things have to come to an end. Would you rather it end now after Saw 10, where the movie was well received, it was successful, A lot of people
good.
liked it. I liked it, even though I had kind of shit on the last
I liked
4 or
it.
5 movies of the series.
Right.
That you're ending on a good note. Why not end it there instead of with whatever the hell is going on with this movie? I don't know what the creative differences are. I mean, I don't know what side wanted what, but at the same time, it's like why force something out onto the screens if you're having this much conflict? It may show through to the quality of what ends up on the screen. So why bother pushing it and having it potentially be a disaster, and you end it on that note as opposed to ending it on a good note like you saw Tim?
Look at it. You would want to see him on screen one more time, Frank? Like, come on. Who doesn't love Bill?
If it's a terrible movie, no, I wouldn't want to see him on screen.
Yeah, like I
was just saying, if you're having that much conflict between the producers and the directors and the writers and all that, what ultimately is going to end up happening is you're going to get a big steaming pile of shit on screen instead of a good movie like you had with Saw X. Because they're not going to be able to get on the same page as to what you should do with a scene, what you should do with a dialogue, what you should do with this, that, effects, whatever. If they can't get on the same page, you're going to come out with a big steaming pile of shit, and then the franchise is going to end on a really shitty note, and it's going to affect the way that some fans who didn't grow up on it like you did, who aren't like big time Saw aficionados like you are, they're going to end up leaving on a sour note, and that's what they're going to remember, not the great movies and the good times, and you kind of push away this one mistake. They're going to remember that one mistake, and that's the last thing they're going to see when they walk out the door. That's why I say it's going to end soon anyway, because Tobin Bell's 150 years old. Let it end now on a good note. Wait 15, 20 years till some new person can come in and maybe give it a fresh coat of paint, a different approach, different direction. Go a little more ballsy. Not that you can go more ballsy than having somebody chop their own legs off to survive, but
Saw tended to not hold back too much.
Just a new fresh take on something to make it fresher for the modern audience, and let Tobin Bell not fade off into obscurity, but fade off into the cornfield with dignity. You know what I mean?
I'll say this to kind of close my piece on it. If you were to tell me, hey, we're going to make 15 more Saw movies, guess what? You're going to get my money at least 15 times. Guaranteed. There's no way I wouldn't be there unless I was dead. But obviously I know all things come to an end, good or bad. It sucks knowing that there was another one to be had. We'll never get it. But if Tobin Bell's happy, that's good enough for me. And I can sit and stew, and I'm going to be pissed off about it and everything else. But Tobin Bell gave me one of my favorite characters in anything. And Hoffman, Logan, and man, all of these, I love these characters. I love this franchise. But if Tobin Bell himself is satisfied and happy, then I can not let it go, but, do my best to avoid and move on. You know what I'm saying? So as long as he's happy, I guess it's fine.
Well, think of it this way. It's like, and again, I'll go back to the sports analogy. 90s Cowboys, team of the 90s by every measure.
Greatest football team of all time.
Wouldn't it have been great to have seen Jimmy Johnson lead Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, all those guys to a championship the last year they were all together before Aikman retires and Jimmy Johnson goes to the booth to start commentating for Fox? Wouldn't it have been great to see them that last year have them hoist that Lombard Trophy one more time?
If not for ego of Jerry Jones, we could have had more success.
As opposed to what ended up happening, couple of years of mediocrity. You end up seeing, Aikman retires.
That mediocrity's name was Barry Switzer, by the way.
But that's what I'm saying. And then the biggest insult of them all, seeing Emmitt Smith in a uniform that was not Dallas Cowboys, which even I as a Niners fan just looked at that and was like, ugh, it doesn't look right.
I was at that game where he got his leg broke, by the way. That I wanted to cry for him. So yeah, that sucked.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. How do you want it to end with Tobin Bell? Do you want it to end with him holding up that trophy?
Like I said,
a good movie, or would you rather it end with the Barry Switzer?
I'd love to see it. Like I said, I'd love to see another one. I know it's not going to happen. I know Jigsaw 2 is not going to happen as much as I would put that movie into production right now. Not going to happen. I'm being delusional. I understand that. But,
I'd love to see more Firefly, but that's also not going to happen. So
right. Everybody has something. that's life. That's it's like you were telling your boy and Jeremy wanting more Firefly. Life giveth and it taketh away. It's just you got to learn how to deal. But it just sucks
really
knowing that
Firefly.
we were literal months away from seeing it, and it'll never happen. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a point of contention to be sure. It's always sad to see an
100%.
era come to an end. But like I said, all good things must come to an end. Your favorite sports team has to eventually send off its legendary players to start to rebuild something for the future. And I think maybe we just need to start looking at this thing as that. Maybe we're gonna say goodbye to Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith and all the people that we had a lot of fun watching, and we're gonna move on to something
Costas
better.
Mandalore, Carrie Elwes.
Give it
So
some
many good
time, and like I said, maybe a new director will come in with a fresh idea. We'll find somebody with the kind of gravitas that Tobin Bell carried on the screen as the character. Maybe somebody new. Maybe somebody who hasn't been born yet. Or maybe a young kid who's currently digging in a sandbox at school or whatever at 10 o'clock at night, because they dig a sandbox at school at 10 o'clock at night. But
kids do now.
yeah, maybe maybe it's just a matter of finding that one weird chemistry that we haven't seen yet that will make this whole thing work again. And I feel like that's the best thing to do for it right now. Like I said, as much as I hate to see an era end, especially one that I've enjoyed at times, it really is the best thing to happen. Maybe that's my guess. Or maybe they'll get their shit together in a couple years. We're gonna be reviewing Saw 11, and it's gonna be awesome. And 95-year-old Tobin Bell is gonna be like, "Cut your leg off, Sonny, or your head's gonna get smashed."
But this is the beauty. This is the beauty of Saw. Tobin Bell does not have to be on screen. There are multiple other apprentices that have been introduced that are in the canon that we can give me Jigsaw 2, you fucking idiots. Just give me the goddamn movie, motherfucker.
I understand what you're saying, but
Ugh.
it's not Saw without Tobin Bell. Yeah,
Sure.
you can say just hear his voice or him play a small role where he only needs to be on set for a few days, given his now.
I don't know.
We talk about how old he is. The reality is he's in pretty good shape for a guy who's in his 80s.
True.
He still looks pretty good.
Literally the only time you saw his face in 4 and 5 was when he was laying on that dadgum whenever on the table. And those movies, like I said, were some of the best of the franchise. I disagree that you can do Saw without seeing him as long as his voice is heard, because we have a model to prove
Well, you see him in flashbacks. I mean, but
right. But he's not carrying the bulk of the story, is what I'm saying.
I don't know, but I'll leave it up to you guys. Go down in the comments below. Let us know. Do you think Saw 11 is ever going to get made, or do you think they should just take some time away and reboot the franchise 5 or 10 years in the future and move on from Tobin Bell?
Wash your mouth out after you say those words. Right?
It's a terrible thought, I know, but like I said, all good things must come to an end, and so too must the Saw franchise at some point. Why not let it be now when you ended on a high note with Saw 10, which is a good movie? Tobin Bell in all of his glory for that last film, a successful film monetarily, a successful film critically, the fans loved it. Why not end on that kind of a note than to risk having all the problems between producers and directors putting a big steamy pile of shit on the screen just so you can get an extra Saw movie? That's my take. But go in the comments, let us know what you guys think. Saw 11, is it ever going to happen, or is it time to move on? Let us know. That's probably a good time to start wrapping things up. I did want to take a minute to kind of peruse some of the JFK files, but the reality is that it's going to take so long. There's that dump was so big. There's on the archives page there is 11 different sections of God. I want to say they released something like 11,000 pages or something like that today. Jeez. That's what they released today, and I
but I'm sure all of them.
Yeah, I flipped through a few of them and I found nothing. No, I didn't see anything redacted, but the stuff that I did read, it was like reading receipts from a gas station or something. It was just stuff that didn't mean anything. There were all like cover sheets and shit like that. I would have to really dig into that.
We already know the truth about JFK, no matter what those redacted fucking documents say. We're not going to get full disclosure on anything, whether it's Epstein, JFK, aliens, drones. They're never going to tell you the full truth. Don't expect it. The government does nothing but lie. Don't believe a word they say.
There's your new script right there. Tobin Bell is a young man. There's your reboot, a prequel. Tobin Bell is a young man. He's the one that actually killed Kennedy for fucking around with all those women.
Well, I was picturing a Saw movie where Jigsaw goes after governmental people because that's the movie I want to see. But hey, either one works.
That might be interesting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thanks to my co-host for coming in and being awesome. As always, again, a very sad night for Tex, but hopefully we've helped him deal with his grief. We've got him through the stages. We've got him through denial. We've got him through bargaining. Now, hopefully, he's on to acceptance.
I'm still bargaining. I'm still hanging out with Mephisto. I came to bargain, so I ain't done yet. So.
But thanks, my coach, for being so awesome as usual. My header life mate, Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursday, not doing Die Hard, or Monday doing Saw because I suffered for that shit.
He suffered for his art, damn it.
Yeah, maybe not emotionally because giving it a second chance was actually kind of cool. Yeah, and I don't do anything else because I'm boring. So I don't know. Game over.
I'm just glad that somebody finally taught you how to shave.
Well, the problem is I need to quit playing fucking adolescent people when I cosplay. It's getting on my nerves. Constantly, I'm like, oh, this
bearded characters only from now on. Is what you need to do.
Yeah, at least something like man.
Either bearded or wearing a mask so you can hide. Either way.
I was playing a preteen at this last Comic-Con, and I'm like, yeah. And then before that, I was Eddie Munson, so I'm playing like a 20-year-old high schooler. It's like I need to like figure something else out because all of them are clean shaven, and it's pissing me off a little bit. But whatever.
And of course,
keep the sideburns.
And of course, the shape of the Lone Star State, my sad man Tex. where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm gonna go rewatch this. Normally, I do this. I save this for October, but since Twisted Pictures wants to fuck around and find out, I'm gonna go watch the Saw movies just as a fuck you, just because they're awesome. So I want everybody to go watch the Saw movies, rewatch them, especially on streaming, so they can track these numbers, right? And then hashtag make Saw 11 happen. Let's get this shit. I'm gonna kick off the new Snyderverse hashtag going here. Hashtag make Saw 11 happen. It's starting right here tonight. So, I haven't. This steps. Frank is he's up there, caggling on about whatever. We have only begun to fight. Is what is the truth. So, make it happen, bitch.
Hey, fans have made stranger things happen. The whole release of Snyder Cut just proves
it took 4 years to get the true version of Justice League, but we got it, and I was there for all 4 years. I could do it. I got 4 more years for this one, buddy. I'm down. I'm ready to.
We bullied a studio into making Sonic the Hedgehog actually look good. I mean, and I
there you go. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Watch the Saw movies on streaming, and let's get these hashtags going. So let's do it, y'all.
As for me, you will find me back here on Thursday, probably with Lady Cora, probably not with my 2 co-hosts from tonight, because we're going to be doing more of a dramatic piece from the 80s called White Nights. So you'll see me and Cora back here.
I watch Novocaine? Like, am I a joke to you?
I already had it scheduled. I don't know when I'm going to be able to see Novocaine. I might not be able to see it until this weekend. So
I need to just start inviting you to go with us, goddammit.
Well, I would have, but
I'm gonna have to go rewatch Novocaine for when we do review.
The problem is we just this weekend got done with Girl Scout cookie season. My girlfriend and her stepdaughter are very involved. So for about 6 weeks this time of year, I don't see them at all. Like I don't see my girlfriend until I go to bed. And when I'm waking up in the morning, sometimes I'm leaving as she's waking up, and most of the times I'm leaving before she's even out of bed. So I don't get to see her at all. Like by the time I get home, she's already left to go do cookie booths, and she shows up in the evening, and she's done her part hawking cookies. We get maybe a half hour, an hour of hangout time, and then it's time for bed, so we can do it all again the next day. And on the weekends, she's gone literally all day doing 3 or more of these cookie booths. So this weekend was the last weekend, so I was hoping to go see it either Sunday night or Monday. Come to find out that Monday she had a meeting. Today she had a Girl Scout meeting, and tomorrow she's got something to do. So I'll
invite both you and Jennifer. Damn.
So I thought that
the movie was fine.
I was going to be, one of these days I'd be able to go, but it turns out she's going to be gone until, way after dark. So, and the only other car we have here is my work.
The movie wasn't good enough where it's like, okay, drop everything and go see it tonight. Like, it wasn't that good. It was fun. It was fine, but it wasn't. It's not something that's gonna, you need to beat your doors down to get to. So,
did it have any boobs in it?
No, unfortunately.
Well, that's why you don't like it.
I actually had to do a half-point deduction because there's a sex scene where bra is shown, but no, not even boob, like just bra. So half-point deduction. Yeah, automatic.
You got Jack Nicholson's son basically borderline being Michael fucking Myers.
Jack Nicholson. Oh, Ray Nicholson. That dude's a star. He was the brightest point of that movie. But you showed me a sex scene with
got a little
boob and bra, and no half-point deduction. These are the rules. Joe Bob started these rules. I'm just carrying them out.
Goofy in a movie where a guy can't feel fucking pain. I was like, this guy is Michael Myers. What the fuck? Like, it was a little over the top.
Right?
A broad boob. That's like Disney Channel nudity right there.
Seriously, literally. And it wasn't even like a skimpy bra. It was like one that goes down to like the belly button. It's like, what are you even doing here?
It's like a sports bra. That's less than
it was.
That's like a shirt.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
Why can't she wear her cute little lacy fucking top and have her moment?
God damn. That wasn't even the point.
She needs to get naked. That's the rules. I'm sorry. That's just the way that it is, honey. Show them or either show them or get off my screen. That's how I look at it.
I'm gonna cut you off. That's not even the point of the scene.
We will get around to reviewing it eventually because I do want to go see it. I do want to review it because it does look like it's kind of a fun movie. I kind of like the trailers, but again,
it's worth seeing for Ray Nicholson. So,
yeah.
But I'll be back here Thursday with Cora to do a more dramatic piece. These guys will probably be taking the night off, which is fine. I gotta give them a break every once in a while. I gotta give them a break every once in a while, let them catch their breath because after that we're gonna be doing Hunt for Red October. We'll probably replace Ninja Assassins because both these guys are like, man, I'm a big bitch about that movie, even though I think it's kind of fun to watch.
It's not even. No, I said what I said last time. I'm not going to repeat myself.
But we'll be back to do something, I'm sure, next week. Hunt for Red October. I know we're going to enjoy doing that one. That's a good movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
But we'll be back then. I will see you guys on Thursday. I'll be here with Lady Cora going over some stuff. And thanks to my co-host for being so awesome as usual. Thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out. We had some good viewership tonight. I really appreciate you guys all being here. Follow us on all the other stuff. Do all that good stuff. We very much appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you guys.
Do your part.
On Thursday, do your part. Want to hear more? We'll see you guys next time. Adios.
There will be blood if Saw 11 is not made. It's time to play a game. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying the point of this whole stream was like maybe we need to know when to stop, and maybe that is the point.
Never give up, never surrender. That's the time.
What we need is a match of all three of these movies: Happy Gilmore, Young Guns, and Saw. That would work.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.